everybody, and welcome to another episode of the HPCritical Podcast. It is a podcast where my friends and I talk all things gaming, and usually, well, first of all, I have to apologize because we haven't been able to record in 2 weeks because we're doing a website redesign over at HPCritical, which is taking a lot of our time. However, I come bearing gifts in the form of a Pokemon Legends Arceus Impressions podcast with some wonderful guests. So first, we have Brandon.
Hey everyone. Glad to be back.
And I also have a wonderful person who I've been trying to talk to for a very long time, the very knowledgeable Pokemon Master, O'Dell Harmon Jr.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing today?
And my other Pokemon Master, Joey. How are you?
Hello, everyone. Slowpoke Master here. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, sir, the Slowpoke Master himself.
That 100% very true. So for anyone who doesn't know about you guys, would you like to give a little bit of an introduction of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, well, I'm O'Dell Harmon Jr. So I started my career in gaming a while back. In 2012, I interned at a small little place called Game Informer magazine, which was really cool. I enjoyed myself. You can actually go look at some of my artwork. At a time, I wrote a piece called "The Top 50 Pokemon of All Time" as far as 2012 was concerned. At GameInformer.com, you can still look that up. I stand by my opinions. I will fight you in the streets. Don't care.
I love it.
I looked that up while you're talking.
And then since then, I've just been all around this industry, covering things at places like GameSpot and IGN, and of course, covering all things Pokemon, which I love. I've been part of the PAX Pokemon League for several years. As a gym leader, Elite Four member, I like competitive battling. And generally, I've been with Pokemon since, day one. I'm a ride or die. I love the series. Here's my custom Pokeball. You can see that. Keep moving on all times. You gotta stay prepared. But other than that, saying. If you ever want to talk games, Pokemon, anything, you can find me at O'Dell Harmon Jr. on Twitter, and that's me.
And also check out his podcast, Full Circle Podcast, which you can find at FC Podcast 23 on Twitter.
Oh yes, sir. Wasn't even gonna plug that, but thank you.
You have to.
I gotta say, this is a pretty respectable list so far. I'm just going down. Let's go. Lap percent number 29. We take those.
Also, you and I have to have a Pokemon battle at some point.
I'm always down for a battle.
I wasn't sure about the competitive scene, but if you're down, I'm totally down. I'm
always down.
I almost won our HP Critical Pokemon tournament for double battles. I came in second place, so throw that one out there.
I do singles. I mean, we could do double, but I specialize in singles battles personally.
But doubles are more fun. There's more strategy.
You know what? I'm not gonna go on this rant. But okay. I am a champion of single battles. It needs to be in VGC. Why won't they respect it? But I don't make the rules. I don't make the rules.
Fair enough. And we also have Joey, who, if you've listened to the podcast for a while, we talked before. He's one of our contributors for HP Critical. Would you like to say hello again, or anything Pokemon related? Your history with Pokemon?
Well, yeah, I'm just a big fan of Pokemon. I really when it comes to just Pokemon, I'm mostly obsessed with like Slowpoke. Anyone that follows me knows that Slowpoke, Slowbro, that evolution line is like one that I'm a big fan of. I'll put in my team no matter what. I don't care how viable it is. So I'm not that competitive just because, again, I don't care how viable a team is. I'll have a Slowbro in it or a Slowking. But outside of that, I talk about culture in video games. And I like to see how, specifically indigenous culture, specifically Native American culture, that's pretty much what I focus on. However, I talk about other things in video games as well. And I love being a gamer. I love exploring worlds, that's pretty much what I do. And Pokemon is no exception, especially because they like to depict a lot of cultures in Pokemon.
Yes, and I have learned so much from you as well. So it's always a pleasure whenever we get to talk or work together. So thank you. So first things first, guys, I want to know what your first impression was when you first started playing Pokemon Legends Arceus. You booted up the game, you made your character, you walked in that semi-open world. How did you feel? How was it? What was that experience like for you?
I guess I'll go first. So I'm assuming you mean by first person, like when we stepped on that beach, or you like
yeah,
in the
yeah.
first...
You just when you first start the game. I mean, you can go further if you want to go into, you first pick your starter. You know what? Actually, why don't I start by asking what starter you guys picked? Brandon, since you started, what starter did you pick?
It was really tough, to be perfectly honest, but I went Cyndaquil. I gotta say, like, the starter choices of this time were ace, because like there's none of those 3-star throwing the heart, loving it. Like, all 3 of the starters are honestly fantastic. I love Rowlet, I love Oshawott and Cyndaquil. So it wasn't as easy as it normally is, but I had to go Cyndaquil. He is my favorite little fire mouse. I had to go him. I had to represent. He's adorable.
I'm gonna go next. I obviously went with the cutest one, which was Oshawott, because it was so freaking adorable. Look, how can you not? Honestly, I don't know why anyone wouldn't go with Oshawott. I'm not gonna talk shit about Cyndaquil on this podcast. I will talk shit about him off the podcast, because I know people love Cyndaquil. I'm just not a fan of that design choice that was made for oh god. I was still talking. I went with Oshawott because it's clearly the fucking cutest one. O'Dell, what about you?
All right, so I went with Cyndaquil.
Oh no!
And I know people like to give fire pickers a hard time, but listen, Cyndaquil's design is ace. Typhlosion, debatable, but Cyndaquil is great because so this is what happened. We got Charmander gold, we got Cyndaquil gold, we got Torchic gold. Then things started to get a little rocky for fire. Then it was like Chimchar's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. We just had the firefighting, but I guess we could do it again. It was like Pig, and it was like, what is this?
Oh,
did you try?
Gosh.
Did you try? No. And then it was like, all right, what we got? Then we went who's after Pig? We got Finnegan. I was like, all right, cool. We're getting back on track. And then it was like Litten, and I'm like, what is this?
Stop! Litten was adorable.
Okay, I'm rating starters on like their whole line, so like it was just like it's a no for me, dog.
Oh my!
But Cyndaquil was like, all right, if you have to pick a fire star from any generation, it was either gonna be Cyndaquil or Torchic or possibly Finnegan. It was one of those 3 for me, and they stuck Cyndaquil, so it was cool. I don't have a problem with Rowlet design point. I have a problem with Rowlet on a technical level. He is not flying type at any point in time, and that just bothers me. I'm sorry. True. It bothers me. It's like, bro, like that's why Incineroar bothers me. Okay, y'all wanted to make a firefighting type, yes, but you're like it's dark. I'm like, no, you just call it what it is.
But I feel like
Oshawott.
Weren't people complaining about firefighting? Like they were so
they were, because they did it 3 gens in a row.
They finally didn't do it, and you still
no, they did do it. They just gave it a different type. It's the same thing with Litten not being a flying like no, it's a wrestler. When I think wrestler, it's like, look, guys, we didn't make a firefighting type. Wink, like no. Respect my intelligence, but Primarina's queen anyway, so it don't matter. Like, Primarina was an easy choice from Final Evolution. I have nothing wrong with Decidueye. It's just I'm like, you're supposed to be a flying type.
Yeah.
And then they give him a remodel, a new type, and it's like he's grass fighting. No, Lilligant already took care of that.
Which was very strange to me that they had like both of those new Hisuian versions that were both the same type.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a big rant to say I chose Cyndaquil.
No, it's totally fine. I love it. Joey, what about you?
So I hate fire types. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I don't like fire types. But Cyndaquil was just the best option for me. Number one, I'm usually a grass starter. I'm not gonna lie. Like I pick grass. The only time I didn't was in Sword and Shield. No, not Sword and Shield. No, yeah, Sword and Shield. No, just kidding. I did pick the grass starter there, but I hate the owl. That owl, I hate it. I hate it. Hate it with a passion. I hate that owl with a passion. I think his last evolution was just hideous. But I will say, in Arceus, it was a big improvement. I actually was debating between the owl and the fire starter. When it comes to the water starter, I just saw no different in the last evolution. I was just like, this is the same thing. So I didn't pick it.
That's so funny to me because I actually was the opposite. I thought that Decidueye's new design was just bad. I hated it. I prefer.
Yeah, I love this
Alolan
design. Yeah,
design.
like his new design, I was like, oh my god, finally. And I don't know, maybe it's because I like fighting types, especially like birds with long legs, like the new Zapdos. Like I just liked that it was fighting. I was just like, man, this is cool. So I think I like birds that are fighting types. I don't know. But Cyndaquil, when I saw those flames, I was like, yeah, I'm picking Cyndaquil. Like it's just what it is. Like that fire, ghost fire, amazing.
Ooh, it's Ghost Fire.
I feel like I was wrong here. I feel like
is that a
I
spoiler?
picked
I'm
wrong
sorry.
now.
No, it's good. It's good. I figured I was gonna get 1 or 2 spoilers in this anyway, so I'm good.
I feel like I picked
You call
wrong now.
Cyndaquil a mouse? I'm pretty sure he's like a porcupine.
It does look like a more Poképine. I'm just going by the Pokédex description. If I'm being real.
Isn't he like a ferret or something?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
I
He's
had
not a
absolutely no
mouse. I think
I
we
have no
can
idea.
all agree he's not a mouse.
Yeah, he's definitely not a mouse. I will agree that he's not a mouse. I can't believe that all of
A
you
rat.
picked Cyndaquil. I'm kind of shocked.
I'm
thought
also
there was more
surprised.
variety here. I really can't believe that. Wow.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's
I
just-
like Oshawott because of the anime. Once I saw he could like take off
Yes.
the shell and do, then
Yes,
I was like,
that's
oh,
true.
okay.
That's true.
They didn't really showcase that in black and white, but if they did, a case could have been made for him.
And then he also does that. It's his little like idle animation. If you like pull him out in the overworld, he does this little like pull off the shell and play with it, which is just super adorable. And before I actually ask you guys once again about your impressions, how do y'all feel about some of the Hisuian designs compared to other regions? Like the Galarian forms versus Hisuian forms. Like, did you feel like it was something that you liked, that you enjoyed? Did you think they kind of dropped the ball? I know this is obviously just a personal question on aesthetics, but how'd you guys feel about the Hisuian versions of some of the Pokemon that we've seen this time? And there are less. I think there's less Hisuian versions than any of the other ones. So
I'll be real. I haven't got too far yet, so I've only seen the ones that they've advertised. But the ones I've seen so far, I actually enjoy. Like Hisuian Voltorb, I like that it's a happy Voltorb. If I'm being real, as opposed to the regular one. I don't even care about his typing. I just like that Voltorb gets to finally be happy for once.
but then he doesn't when he evolves.
And
It's
then
kinda trash.
what? Hold on, but let me finish. But then you have the opposite spectrum, Zora, who's just now upset, just like hating life because the humans were just so cruel to it. And I'm like, it's like Full Metal Alchemist. We got a clue in exchange. Like one person got to be happy to make another one be sad. It's just like, oh man. But to answer your question about like compared to like the Galarian forms,
or any other, Alolan as well.
sure.
Just
Well,
in
I
general.
will. I'll go right off the bat and say I'm very glad that Gen 8 in general has been good about giving these alternate forms, these regional forms to Pokemon beyond just the Gen 1 ones. Because that was my one complaint with the Alolan forms, that it was only been given to the Gen 1 Pokemon. I was like, man, I could go for some Johto Pokemon getting Alolan forms and beyond, but that didn't really happen. So when Galar right off the bat was showing off like, hey, here's this Galarian Zigzagoon, I was like, oh, so we're going beyond. Let's see what we get. And that's being translated even so far with Hisui, where we see the Zora, and some of them are getting new evolutions like Stantler becoming Wordier, and Scyther getting Cleaforce evolution. That is one thing I've actually very much championed, the fact that these existing Pokemon have been getting new evolutions that is tied to like that new form. It's interesting. It keeps things fresh because with every new generation you get new Pokemon, and that's all well and good. But I like the fact that older Pokemon can also get that refresh as well. Pokemon that may not have been, for lack of a better term, good, can now get an evolution that makes them a little more viable. Like I love Stantler. I've always loved Stantler. But I was never going to be using that in like a battle, like in a full team, because it didn't have as much utility as like other Pokemon.
Yeah.
But Wordier though, and Basculin though, like Basculin becoming Basculegion, that was a game changer. Like in my Twitter header, I still got Basculegion as my header because I ran a Basculin on my black version team, and it became champion with it, despite the fact that Basculin probably is the best Pokemon. But I always knew it had the potential to be stronger. And there you go. Now we got Basculegion here. And as soon as home compatibility comes with this game and I can take it into a future game where I actually battle against other people, Basculegion, it's time. It's time. I'm going to show what it's capable of, what it's really capable of.
So overall, you're pretty happy with the designs that you've seen?
From what I've seen, yes, for sure.
Fair point. O'Dell?
So I'm going to say I'm 60-40 positive to negative. If
Okay.
I'm being critical, maybe like a 55-45. So for example, they won me over. So Lilligant is one of my favorite grass Pokemon, if not my favorite grass Pokemon. Like, I love her. Like, and she's a great battler. I love the Pokemon that I love. It's like
on my main team all the time when it's available.
So when I saw the Hussein form, Hisuian form. There we go. I saw the Hisuian form. I was like, oh no, not my girl. That it's good. Okay. I was like, all right, there's hope. And then I won't, because you haven't made it far. I kept seeing, so I saw something that I definitely didn't like Cleavor. I'm like, this is dumb. What is this? I do not like Cleavor. But for every Cleavor, there was like 2 more that I did like. And like, I'm kind of neutral on Zoro, but Zoroark, I'm like, oh, when you see it, like when it's I'm like, okay, there's some, when you see it in the overworld, like when you throw it and you just have it walk around you, it's like, oh yeah, this is something. So I'm for the most part, I'm overly happy with the design choices that they made for the regional forms and the just brand new Pokemon period. You know, so that there were I liked more than I thought I would. I'm neutral on most, and there's only like 3 or 4 that I would be like, this is just bad. But you know, that's gonna be every generation anyway. So yeah. Overall, I think they did Gudra. Gudra's also one of my favorite Pokemon. So I was like, ooh, I'm not sure if I'm gonna like new Gudra.
Do you like it?
She won me over.
Really? Okay.
She won me. It was interacting with her in the overworld and seeing how like she worked. Like, again, it's the Oshawott effect. Looking at you just blank is like, okay, but seeing you in action and seeing how you work and the whole shell concept. What happened is she went to sleep and she went inside her shell and put her little hand out. Yeah. And I was like, oh crap. I see it. I get the vision now. I get it. I'm done. We're good. She's still rocking her on the team. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, I'll say 60-40. More positive than negative.
And since I didn't get to ask you before, what did you think of the Galar regional variants? Like, do you like them more than Hisuian, or?
I'm gonna give it to Hisuian. Galar forms, with the exception of like Obstagoon. Okay, Weezing was just funny. I mean, he is, you know, it's British.
Yeah,
that's just funny.
Weezing was great. Like one of my favorite design variants ever.
But then like they kept messing up, like Ponyta, A+, Rapidash.
Don't you do this to me?
Ponyta was A+, Rapidash not so much.
What are you?
That's all I'm saying. About? Galarian Rapidash just doesn't do it for me. It does. It looks like generic zebra. I mean, not generic.
Jarrell, I'm gonna break your heart.
Generic unicorn.
I'm gonna break your heart a little bit, Jarrell. Until O'Dell mentioned Ponyta and Rapidash, I forgot that they got Galarian forms. Until he's like, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, they got Galarian.
So beautiful.
I had one in
Ponyta. Yes.
No,
yes. I'm all about Ponyta.
That's crazy because when I did the Shield playthrough on stream, I had a Rapidash on the team all the way to the end, and I was like, "How did I forget that?"
Wow. I mean, I guess I see why, because I prefer the Galarian versions, because Rapidash was just everything to me. I love Lilligant is my favorite grass type. I usually have one on my team. It's also for competitive. I'm giving my plan away a little bit here, but I don't like the Hisuian version of Lilligant. I feel like it's missing a lot. And I feel like a lot of these Hisuian versions are I love Growlithe, but okay. In general, I love all the cute Pokemon. So like, I love Hisuian Growlithe. I think it's fucking adorable.
And in terms of the Hisuian Arcanine, it's like, what was this? What was the plan here?
Not really a fan of the Arcanine, honestly. And it was the same thing with Voltorb. I didn't like that I think Joey made a tweet about the evolution at some point that I saw that I totally agreed with, because I feel like they kind of went backwards with their decision in designing it.
I think for me the biggest disappointment was Electrode, the Voltorb line. When I saw Voltorb, I was so excited. I was like, I love this design. Happy Voltorb. Yeah, I'm excited. And then I got Electrode and I'm like, what was the point of this?
Literally, I was like, y'all went backwards.
Like, this is Voltorb. This is Voltorb with like a different skin.
That's extra disappointing to me, because when Hisuian Voltorb got introduced, they did like these 3 like YouTube shorts that were like adorable, like Voltorb.
Yeah,
was
super
the
cute.
other Pokemon, and they were the cutest. I was like, oh, Voltorb just wants to be friends. So now you're telling me that Electrode just goes backwards, and I'm like, that's like a bad ending to like a long running show.
Yeah.
And like I like the Pokedex entry for Voltorb. It's like, oh, he exposed with like happiness, but then Electrode is like, he's mean, and I'm like, what? This is just Voltorb. Like, give me something new. And I love like the new variants. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love the more experimental ones, like Gudra. As soon as I saw the shell, I'm like, my favorite dragon, and it's my favorite dragon. I love Gudra, the snail. I love it. I saw the shell. I got super excited. I don't know. Maybe it's just me with shells because like now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is just a trend. But yeah, I loved it. Super excited. And with Growlithe, when I saw Growlithe, I was like, oh, this is cute. I wonder how the evolution is. Arcanine is kind of a hard, standard.
Yeah, it's very standard. I completely agree.
Sorry, there's a lot of cards here, so I'm gonna mute myself real quick, but yeah.
And then I think for me, I like the Galarian forms more, but I will give it to the Hisuian forms. I think they do give a lot of personality sometimes when they get it right. Like I think Gudra, I've never liked Gudra, but seeing the shell, I was like, okay, I'm kind of falling for this a little bit here. So I do think that I don't like most of them. I won't lie. Zoroa and Zoroark are literally probably my favorites because I was like, oh shit, like this looks so fucking great. Like I haven't seen it in the overworld yet, but I've seen the pictures of it and I've just literally been in love with what that was. And since they showed off that and then they showed off Hisuian Growlithe, my expectations were super high. And then I started seeing some of the other versions and I think it's just because I hyped myself up with what I did see because I loved what I saw. I was like, oh shit, if they're all gonna look like this is gonna be really amazing. And then when I saw him like in the game, I was like, oh, that is not at all what I was expecting here. But I do appreciate that they did give a lot of them some type of personality with their redesigns, and it really, when it works, it really works.
Yeah, I will say that like one of my favorite Galarian forms was Meowth. I just I love the new Meowth form. I saw those. I loved it. I put it in my team as soon as I saw it. I was like, I love this. I'm obsessed. It just looks like a little, I don't know, like a little.
I gotta be honest with you. Like I was just gonna say, like Galarian Meowth at the time when it first came out, I was like, ooh, this is. I don't know how I feel about this. And that was one of the surprise ones, by the way, which is one thing we want to touch on real quick. With Sword and Shield, they showed us very little Pokemon in regards. So when I saw Galarian Meowth for the first time, I was like, oh wow, that's what Meowth looks like? I thought this was a whole ass new Pokemon. But I didn't know how I felt about it. But then I was thinking, oh wow, this is how Galarian Meowth looks. I wonder what his Persian form is gonna look like. Then I run into a Berserker, and I'm like, yo, this thing is cool.
That shit was so ugly. I'm sorry. I hated it. I hated it so much.
It's like one of the best surprises in that game. I was like, it turns into this?
This ugly ass, lazy ass cat. Get the shit out of my way. I'm so sorry. Hated it so much.
I think Sword and Shield also gave me like my shoulder Pokemon. You know how every trainer has a shoulder Pokemon? Impidimp. I would never evolve it because that thing is ugly, but normal Impidimp. Love it. A little elf, yeah.
Yeah, that one was really cute. Another one that the evolution kind of failed for.
All right, I'm gonna end this Galar talk real quick.
Oh god,
I had to look up just to refresh my memory. All right, so best design I forgot was Darmanitan. Best Galar design. Ooh, yeah, don't care. Snow Afro and with the Zen mode. Fire snowman thing.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Cool. Worst design, Galarian Mr. Mime. That's if I needed an adult was a Pokemon. Like I remember when I saw it, I was like, "What is this? Get it away from me!" No.
Now you're right.
Oh
you're right about Galarian Mr. Mime. I like Mr. Rhyme, but you're right about the Galarian Mr. Mime.
Yeah, Mr. Rhyme's cool. Mr. Rhyme's like, yeah, bro, get your tap dance on.
Yeah.
Galarian Mr. Mime is just like
it was like a nasty old man. I actually agree with you there. It was pretty creepy, but I liked that it was creepy. I thought it really gave this. Never mind. I actually don't want to talk about how I liked it was creepy. Not where I want to take this conversation. So one thing that I'm talking about Galar a little too much, Galarian region, but one thing that they did was they didn't, and correct me if I'm wrong, but they did not show us the final evolutions of the starters in that generation, correct? Like,
Not
we
in
didn't see
trailers.
them
I don't think so. Yeah,
until-
because I remember playing
It
the
took a
game and having
while.
no idea what they looked like.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
the
the
game came
final-
out before they showed us.
Yes, there was a trailer, but it was like a week or two after the game had come
after the
out.
game showed
Yeah.
us. And so in this game, they did have the trailer that did reveal them, but it was very like blocked off, like there were
silhouetted.
graphics. Yeah, it was silhouetted. Do you guys think that that works for you as a Pokemon player? Like, would you prefer to have seen the end evolutions, or do you like the surprise going in?
I prefer not to like I know they're gonna showcase, you know, the starters obviously at some point and just random new Pokemon to get you, you know, excited. But in terms of starters, like I don't want to know what the final evolution looks like. I mean, there are some cases where like, if for Sun and Moon, I might not have picked the seal Poplio.
Poplio?
Yeah. Because when I saw Primarina, I was like, oh yeah, it's done. Game over. One, Litten was already out the gate from day one. So I was like, it's either Poplio or Rowlet. And then they showed Primarina. And I'm like, And then she turned out to be like a Siren Sea Witch thing. I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. I can rock with that. But yeah, like I like the mystery, you know. If I chose wrong, then so be it, you know.
Yeah,
No,
I'm with O'Dell. Like, I could definitely see the argument for like why would you want to know why you would want to know your final starter, because you know, like he said, you could very well choose a Pokemon and then you not like the final evolution. That happened to a lot of people in Gen 6, I'll tell you, because you know, you get Fennekin. A lot of people didn't like Delphox. They like Brazen. They didn't like Delphox.
Braxton was so good.
It was perfect.
It was such a
and then
good
they ruined
design.
it. Like, it was perfect.
I was about
and
to
then they
say
ruined
Gen
it.
6 ruined it for me. I will always look up the final edition because
Yeah,
that
it
furry
did that for a lot of
fox,
people.
that furry fox, I was so pissed. I was like, what is this ugly rat thing? Like,
What is this? Fire
Why is she
earwax coming out your ears? What was the idea here?
yeah,
So that's
ugly,
like
hideous.
Fox Wizard. Honestly, it was kind of the same with me with I ended up choosing Fennekin. But it was also the same. In my opinion, it was the same thing with Chespin as well. I don't like Chestnut's design that much. I think Greninja is like the only like good final Evo for Gen 6, if I'm being real. Yeah.
Like if Fennekin was the last, I mean, she has a stick in her tail, and the embers from pulling out her tail ignites it and makes a magic wand. That's just good design.
It was perfect.
I'm just saying, there's a reason why they put Brazen in Pokémon Tournament and not Delphox. I'm just saying, you know.
Also true. So Joey, same question. Would you prefer to see these starters final evolutions or be surprised?
Yeah, no, I would like, again, ever since Gen 6, I'm as soon as the leaks, I checked them out as soon as they happened. I was like, I'm not being surprised. I'm never wanting a furry starter in my life. I was traumatized to say the least. Like, it really did traumatize. I was like, nope, not me. No, sir.
You know, I'm two ways about it because I do like the surprise. However, I was unintentionally spoiled for this Legends Arceus. I was unintentionally spoiled for the final designs of the starters. And I will say I was pretty happy because I did not, when I first saw them, I didn't like them. But the reason I say I'm back and forth is because then I saw them in action and it completely changed my mind about how they would look and act in the game. And I think it's very, very important to see that. You know, it's like what O'Dell mentioned, like Gudra is one thing and then you see it sleeping in its shell and it becomes something completely different. I've never had an Umbreon on my team. I accidentally evolved one and I've been using it in Legends. And it fell asleep and I was like, oh my god, this is like the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. I do prefer to see them though, because like I mentioned, I like cute Pokemon. Like I will literally take my team and it's just going to be the cutest shit you've ever seen. And sometimes those end designs, but I thought it was really interesting that Pokemon decided to give us silhouettes when they didn't do that in the previous game. This time they did give us silhouettes just so we knew that there were going to be new, Hisuian versions, because we knew that they were previous Pokemon, but it wasn't guaranteed that they were going to have Hisuian evolutions until basically they showed off that trailer, right? I'm pretty sure. Like we had speculation.
That's the first time they said it. Like I could tell you that I suspected that. Mm-hmm. Like that, like a lot of people were, but that trailer was like Hisuian final evolutions. I was like, well, there it is, hard confirmation that the final form is going to be different.
Yeah,
thank God too, because literally, like, this would have been hard for me because I like the starters. Well, the owl one, I was just never gonna pick. There was no way I was gonna pick that owl. But after seeing that Hisuian form, I was like, okay, damn, this is cool.
What, Typhlosion?
No. The outlet.
Oh, the Decidueye.
The Decidueye. There you go. I forgot that out thing. I just erased it from my memory. But Typhlosion, when I got spoiled for Typhlosion, I'll be honest, the first thing I thought was, damn, this is kind of it's not giving.
Yes.
But then I saw its flames.
And then it changed my mind. Yeah.
I was just like, whoop, I'm picking this one for sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. You don't see the flames on it. You just saw this like mole rat looking thing, and I was like, why would he look high? I'm like, he looks high and bad. Like, I was like, he just looks so fucking high all the time.
But you said something because Typhlosion's design's already bad in my personal opinion.
Ooh, it's not great.
No, he should be on all fours. Like,
yeah.
I feel like Typhlosion on fours looks better. Like, with the flame wheels back using flame wheel, but when he stands up, it's like a dog standing up. Like, bro, I know you can stand up, but like, this is not your natural stance. I mean, that's just me.
I hate that you said that because now that is literally all I'm gonna see is that it looks like a dog standing up, because I'm looking at it right now and it's like, exactly,
yeah, like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
exactly what it looks like. Oh,
which is weird because Samurai should be standing up, pulling out his samurai swords, but he's on all fours. So it's like, bro, you gotta swap the stances.
I agree. I think, yeah, I agree with that. I feel like their stances are awkward for each other. Yeah, that's a good point.
I completely agree with that as well. So back to my original question now. What were your initial thoughts when you first booted up Pokemon Legends Arceus? You got to run around a little bit. You caught the first 3 starters for the first mission. How did you feel when you first played that, being Pokemon fans?
Literally, stop talking.
Literally what?
Stop talking. Literally, stop talking. Just let me go to the wild. Stop talking. Oh my God, please stop talking. Stop talking. Can I just go to the wild and do my thing? Stop talking. That was the first thing. I was like, oh my God, this tutorial is really long, bro.
It was very long. I played the tutorial for 2 days just because I was playing in increments. So like I started, I caught the Pokemon, I had to stop. I start the next day, I do, the little intro stuff, I stop. I come back on and I'm like, oh my God, am I still like, y'all are still not letting me just run? Like, I just want to run. I feel like if they would just let me in the very beginning run and do whatever I want, come back to the village, and then they're like, all right, here's the story, I would have liked that so much more. That was a really, really freaking long intro. I completely agree. However, my initial thoughts when I started was, holy shit, this isn't a Pokemon game. Like my original thought was just like, I've never imagined that this is what the series could be. Like, I wish that this is what it was. And I was flabbergasted at what it was. Like when I first caught the original 3, I was like, oh, why haven't we been doing this for so long? Like, this is, it blew my mind. I never thought I would play a Pokemon game that initially made me feel what other games make me feel as I play through. Like I felt that in the very beginning, like right after, once I start walking, and I was like, oh shit, like this is just open. Like this is not, and not only is it open, because obviously we had the wild area and Galar, but it's not the same, right? Like it didn't even feel the same. It just felt like this is what a Pokemon adventure is supposed to be. Like, I'm supposed to be able to start in this huge open area, give me some fucking Pokeballs, let me run around. Even the sounds amazed me. Like, this game, I'm probably gonna get some hate for this, but this game really just sounds like a lot of Breath of the Wild to me. I hear lots of what sounds like Zelda stuff to me, which is not a bad thing. I think it's really cool, but I was really just mesmerized when I started playing this game, and I thought, wow, I'm gonna love this. I already know I'm gonna sink so many hours into just running around and catching Pokemon. And then I played the tutorial for 2 days, and I was like, oh my God, what is this trash? But that was my impressions. What about you guys, Brandon and O'Dell?
Yeah, so so I'll be real. Like, this is probably a very unpopular opinion when it comes to like games in general, because a lot of gamers hate when they're being handheld, but I've realized that I've gotten older when I'm dealing with something that I just haven't experienced before. Like, I'm like, please hold my hand. Let me hold my hand until I learn how to play this entirely. when it comes to the core Pokemon games, I'm with you guys. Like I was like, all right, enough talking. I know how to do this. I know how to catch Pokemon. I know the types. Just let me get to the adventure. But for this game, because it was so different, I was like, tell me everything. All right, how do I throw the ball? How do I do the thing? Like, yes, keep talking. Which I'm very well aware that's an unpopular opinion, but I was like, I want to know how to play this game so I can be as good as all my friends who are way ahead of me. So tell me everything.
Can I say something really quickly? I agree
go
with
ahead.
you. I agree with you. I think that yes, I do want to know how to throw the Pokeballs. Like I do want to know the basics, but I think that this game took it a little too far.
Yes, that's fair. But that aside, going on to the actual impressions of the game itself, it's kind of mind-blowing if I'm being real, because as someone that has been playing since the original red version, remembering how Pokemon was, with the 8-bit sprites and just going and catching the Pokemon. Anytime in particular when I see a Kanto Pokemon, I just think about how far we've come. That we're no longer just going to the grass and waiting for random encounter and then catching the Pokemon. We are seeing these Pokemon in the wild and actually stalking them. And I felt that strongly when I was seeing like the 3 starters that, there they were just interacting. Like Ashwa was just playing in the pond. Rowlet was like playing around in the grass. Like they felt real. And I was like trying to like catch them. And I think that there's a lot, of course, that can still be done with this formula, but seeing just how far we've come, just like the fact that the Pokemon, like in a mainline game, really feel just like so real, and that when you catch them and like go into the battle, it's just, I'm mesmerized, honestly. And the further I go and the more Pokemon I see, the more I see their patterns. The fact that the Pokedex is like rewarding you for like seeing all the different patterns and like trying to interact with them. Some Pokemon are simple food or whatnot. I'm just going through the game and I'm just like enjoying just seeing how different everything is. And to your point, Joel, you saying how the music feels like Breath of the Wild. It's interesting because it's a little bit of both, because Breath of the Wild, like its music was more atmospheric. Like you had a lot of soft piano sounds as you were going through the overworld for the most part. Legends Arceus kind of does a little bit of both. You have moments of silence at times when you're overworld. Then you have moments where there is like a little soft, like piano sound. And then sometimes you go to areas and you'll hear like specific music, like where I recently left off in Legends Arceus. I know I'm going a little past your question, but I got to say this real quick. I recently got to the Heartwood in like the first area, and listening to the music, it was like a very soft remix of like the Eterna Forest music from Diamond and Pearl. And that's another thing I really enjoyed, that they don't overload it with it, but there's every now and then you will get some like nice callbacks to the Diamond and Pearl soundtracks. This is, of course, what is to become Sinnoh, and that's something I really appreciate as well. So I like that this game is a lot of new, but just a little bit of what has come before, and it really feels like the next evolution of the series, and I'm really enjoying it for that.
So I'm just gonna skip over the whole tutorial area because I was just like, I didn't really have opinions. Just like, yeah, this is what you do. But I want to tell y'all say y'all want people to talk, but people do not shut up in this game. People talk a lot. Oh my
God, they do.
People talk a lot. For a game that does not have voice acting, there's been so many conversations where I'm like, bro, y'all are still talking. Like, we get it. Pokemon problem. I go solve it. What? Bruh, like, shut up. Diamond Clan, Pearl Clan. Y'all love each other. What? Just... especially some of the in-game stuff, bro. I'm talking about it. I'm mashing A, and I'm like, bro, it's been like 10 minutes. Like, that's not an exaggeration. It's been like 10 minutes. But
you know what about that too? Not only do they talk a lot, some of them I just feel like they'd be so dumb. Like some of the stuff they're saying, I'm like, what are you talking about? Like it makes me feel like that. I agree. It makes it feel longer than it is most of the time, and especially when I'm talking to the what are they, the Guardians? What are they called? The Wardens. The Wardens. I'm like, y'all, how are you a Warden? Like, I'm a 12-year-old that just kicked your ass. Why you only have one Pokemon? Like, what is going on? And then they're all just so rude. And I'm like, why are y'all all so mean to me?
Well, first of all, you're not 12 in this game. Okay, you're like 15.
You
I think.
Yeah, you're like 15.
No,
you're 15.
You're 15.
What? I'm saying you're like 15.
Someone's been skipping the dialogue.
Well, it was too much. It was too much. If they didn't talk so much, I would remember that I was 15.
Speaking of being 15 in the game, though, because we kind of skipped over it. The intro cinematic, amazing. I thought Kingdom Hearts. Like I was like, someone needs to dub Kingdom Hearts music over this because your father.
Oh, they have.
I remember just thinking, you got isekai. And I'm like, oh man, that's how we're starting. Yeah, I was happy because I was like, man. All right, if this game is stupid or does nonsensical things, it never happens. Whatever, I'm good with that.
I love to the point. Like I love the fact they kept the fact this game is an isekai. They kept that secret from the marketing. I was legitimately surprised when I booted up the game. I was like, yo, I'm not from this era. Let's go. And that also gives you context to the ARC phone. It's literally your cell phone from the modern era turned in. Because that was the one thing people were complaining about. It's like, what the hell is this cell phone doing in this ancient Sinnoh region? And I'm like, oh, okay, there you go. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, also, but to answer your question, yes, my initial feeling, I was overwhelmed, honestly. Because I remember thinking like it was different from Breath of the Wild. It was like, since I'm familiar with this world, I'm familiar with Zelda, but we kind of knew what we're getting. It was just like, I want to catch everything. I can't catch everything. Something's too strong. Oh crap, look at all these Pokédex intros. Okay, you don't have to do everything on the Pokédex page to get to the Pokédex page, but I thought so at first. And I was like, oh crap, I need to catch like, 25 Badoos? Dear God. And I'm just like, look at this Brazil. Oh man, everything's killing me. And I was just like, all right, you know what? Breathe. Just one step at a time. One step. It was like sensory overload. Mm-hmm. But then, once I learned the mechanics and got things, it was cool because the game becomes very rewarding. Even after you play it, like I'm somewhere north of 60 or 70 hours, there's still certain areas that I never fully explored, or being like, oh, this Pokemon appears more. Like there's some Pokemon that only appear certain places, but there are Pokemon that appear more frequently on this part of the map versus this part of the map. And it's just, similar to that Breath of the Wild, but it's the world of Pokemon, that constant feel of discovery, even after you get comfortable with the mechanics and the areas, and you've been there 12 or 15 times, what have you. Mm-hmm. So I was overwhelmed, and then I was just generally impressed because I never thought it was going to be bad, but it was just better than my expectations.
It's funny you say that because I was a little bit overwhelmed when looking at the Pokedex, and I made the mistake of, when I started, I was like, I got to fill out this whole thing, like one page. I got to fill out the whole thing on one page. And then I found out, it completes after you do 10 of them. But then I was like, I don't want to move on. Like, I want to finish this page. Like, I want to do more here. And I don't recommend anyone do that, because you will be there for a very long time trying to do just one Pokemon. You'll be there for a very long time. But even the dynamic day and night cycles, like I just like looked at the moon one day, like when it was nighttime, and I was like, that's fucking cool. Like this is really, really dope. I really appreciated what they were able to do. So now I talked a little bit about your impressions. What are your favorite things so far in Pokemon Legends Arceus?
I love the scale. So you eventually make your way to Snow Point Temple, and it's just as big and as grand as it was, in Diamond and Pearl, but you get to see it in real, to scale, real mm-hmm. things. And then I was like, this is impressive. And then when you're in the tundra area, when you look up like you said, you look up to the nighttime sky, and because you're in a different area, and because you're less city, you see the stars vividly and they shine brightly, and the music changes. And it was just like, it made me think, imagine how wonderful if the next Pokemon game is fully realized in 3D like this. A stadium looks like a huge bustling stadium, skyscrapers tower over you, ancient ruins are big and creepy, and it's just like, it's a sombering feeling of like, wow. And then imagine coming across new Pokemon, because more or less we've seen all these Pokemon or we're familiar with them, but imagine walking the area and every new Pokemon you see is new, and it's just like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. It's not even like it random encounter popped. It's like you see it in the distance, and you're like, I don't know if it's skittish. I don't know if it's gonna attack me. Like this could be a rare Pokemon. This might be my only chance to catch it. And that feeling, I felt that way in a world that was already familiar to me, and it was just like, how would this feel in a Pokemon world that wasn't familiar to me? And like my mind went racing. So that was, I guess, the greatest thing I liked about this game, seeing the old, the new, and the potential it could have going forward. And it was thrilling.
It's one of those things where it's like, you've given this to me, you can't take it away now. Like I've experienced what you like explained firsthand. And I too was thinking, I can't wait until I can do this in a region that's never been explored. And it's exactly what you mentioned, that thrill of this brand new Pokemon, seeing it fully realized for the first time and how it reacts to me. I'm cautiously optimistic for what's to come. What about you, Brandon? Oh, were you gonna say something? I'm sorry, were you gonna say something? Although, were you done?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, going off your point, yeah, absolutely. Like, every time a Pokemon game tries something new, it always feels like a little bit of a test to see what's to come next. Like Sun and Moon was kind of like a test to see if they could do more universal movement as opposed to just the grid thing they've always been doing. The wild area, I feel like, was almost like a test for this. And now to the point where, we're in this big open area, it definitely could be a test for what the net Generation 9 will look like. Maybe it'll just be all like one big area that you can just keep going. That will be relatively seamless. That'd be great. But yeah, going to your question about what I've liked about the game so far is kind of regarded to what I was saying before, of that catching Pokemon and interacting with them is not the same as it has been in past games. Some Pokemon, it'd be better to just sneak up on them and just try to catch them like that. Some is better to just like go, with your Pokemon and just battle them like you traditionally always have been doing, weaken it and then catch it that way. It just really depends on the Pokemon. And that just adds such a new layer to everything about it. Like, because not all Pokemon are the same. They all have like different, again, they feel real because they have all these different routines based on like what kind of species they are. And that just makes the whole catching aspect. You know what it reminds me of, actually? It reminds me back in 2016 when Pokemon Go came out, when everybody was like going out catching Pokemon. It made the catching aspect fun again.
Yeah.
And I think this game is doing that as well for this new generation, because catching does again feel fun. You're encouraged to catch a lot of Pokemon. I've always appreciated when Pokemon actually encourage you to catch more as opposed to the one in the Pokedex and then, be done with it. But it has to make it fun, to be clear. And this game, I think, does make it fun to catch Pokemon as opposed to battling, because that is what this game's focus is. And that's definitely been my favorite aspect so far. What's especially fun is catching the alpha Pokemon, because those alpha Pokemon, more than likely, when you encounter them, can beat your ass if you get too close to them. Mm-hmm. Like, the Rapidash is level 40. I'm sitting here with my level 8 Bidoof and Cyndaquil. Or the Luxio that's a little down the ways there. They're just all like overwhelmingly powerful. You just scan them and you're like, I cannot beat this thing in a battle, and they will go first and I will die. So you got to try to sneak up on them. You cannot go into these things unless you come to them much later in the game. So you got to like sneak up on them. And I'm reminded of my 2021 Game of the Year, Metroid Dread, which was very much kind of like that with the Emmys, where the Emmys were like hunting you, and if they caught you, you're dead. So it kind of gave me that feeling too, where I'm like, because the alphas like could hunt you, but in a way you're also hunting them. It's literally who catches that one first will determine who lives, basically. And I've gotten to practice that a little bit with Kricketune. I've already caught 3 alpha Kricketune, and that's where I okay, all right, I'm gonna throw some food. It's gonna get distracted. I'm gonna get real close, throw the heavy ball. Will it get it? Will it get it? Nope. And you got to dodge away, because if you didn't get it, they're gonna see you, and then they'll smack you with a hyper beam. So that's definitely been my favorite aspect, just catching the Pokemon, and especially the ones that are dangerous to try to catch, because it instills a sense of fear in you that if you don't do this right, they could catch you, and you will have to run for your life to not lose all the hard-earned items you've collected.
But once I hear that song, that alpha song, I'm looking around. I'm like, where the fuck is it? I'm so scared. What I don't like is that they can apparently just see through fucking rocks. Like, it's no problem.
Sometimes they can. If you're in the zone,
you have to, in the grass, they can't see you, but they have X-ray vision through rocks, because you cannot hide through a rock. You will still get hit. That's not okay.
Honestly, the alpha music is definitely terrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another thing with this game, that it really does test your senses as well, because oftentimes you can hear the alpha cries from the distance, and they are terrifying. It's so crazy that they're so terrifying, because all it is their regular cries, but just kind of like given like a synth and like upscale to like sound louder and sound just menacing. Like Kricketune has always sounded like funny to me, But then the alpha one instilled a sense of fear in me. Like I will never hear Crickettoons cry the same way again. Because I heard it like 20 times a section. It was like roaring in the grass. I'm like, it was great.
My favorite things are actually none of those. My favorite things are all of the quality of life updates that have made Pokemon fun again. That includes the ability to just switch your Pokemon by pressing L and R in the menu, like having that UI where your Pokemon are there, switching between Pokemon is super simple. You don't have to go into a menu anymore. You don't have to do a bunch of stuff. Things like being able to change your moves on the fly. Oh my God, why is it taking this long for something like that?
To stay.
And having all of your moves there, like, and I get the whole strategy thing, but being able to switch them up for at least for the single player portion has been just wonderful. Like, you know, if you go into an encounter and it doesn't work, being able to go back and strategize. Another thing, turn order is great. Strategizing in that way with Pokemon has been wonderful. Crafting is a lot of fun. I love going and having, like, throwing my Pokemon out and grabbing something to be able to craft stuff. Like, there's just so many. Those things are what have probably been my favorite things about this game. Like, I've loved everything else, but the quality of life improvements that just makes a game more fun. Being able to, I was shocked when I threw out 3 Pokemon at one time, and I was like, oh shit. And then I threw out 3 more, and I was like, I can have my whole team out at one time out of their balls, like in the open world, like in the overworld, all of my Pokemon can be out. That's amazing. That was cool to me. I caught 3 Pokemon at one time, and I was like, what is this? Like, I don't have to wait until that one's caught. Like, I literally just tried it and it worked. And I think that sense of trying things and having them work in that quality of life fixes, you know, those are some of my favorite things. Being able to throw out one Pokemon to hit a tree, another one to mine some ore, while also catching a Pokemon in the corner while in the grass. Like, it feels much more real than anything I've ever been able to do. And
Drew,
that's my favorite.
It's the weirdest thing, but you know what that reminds me of? Because I've also done that where I've had to catch multiple Pokemon at once because, because there's 2 Pokemon sitting next to there. If I catch one and only one, and the other one's still right there, they'll know something's up. I need to catch them both at the same time. It reminded me of when we were playing The Last of Us Part 2 of all things, because when you have to like stealth kill the enemies, I'm like, well, he's right next to them, so if I don't kill them both at the same time, then the other one's gonna alert everyone else. So that's what reminded me of. I was like, what a thing to remember when I'm playing Pokemon.
And also that, like, the fact that they can just, if you're close enough to one of them, they will just jump your ass. Like, they literally, that too. Come around. And I was like, okay, that's so cool. The interaction with the Pokemon, like the AI that they've installed in them, making them feel more real. It just, I love it. However, there's nothing else I want to talk about about loving them. I kind of want to talk about what you guys dislike about the game now. So is there anything that you haven't, that just hasn't meshed well with you? Anything that you dislike about the game so far?
Oh yeah, most definitely. So, okay, one, I hate battling in this game. This is the worst battling ever felt for me. Turn order sounds cool and strategic until you realize it's other random, like, oh, Pokemon just went 3 times because I don't know why. Yeah. Or I didn't even use agile. I used agile style, went once, then they went twice, and I'm like, what? And then honestly, if most moves, if they hit neutral, they like hurt you, like they take half their health anyway. So I'm just like, I get it, that's not the point. But like you said, the quality of life changes, those are cool. But some Pokemon are way too aggressive. They aggro way too fast. Paris, I'm looking at you, Paris. I can't walk 2 feet. I'm like, ooh, sneak in, being cool. A Paris sees me from 2 miles away and just whooping on me, alerting the Pokemon I'm trying to catch. And the music in this game is actually pretty damn good. Too bad you rarely hear it because there's always a Pokemon waiting to aggro. There's always a Pokemon. Yeah. There's always something. Because when you get too close to Pokemon, the music changes. And I'm like, yo, I sometimes just want to enjoy the music. And you have to basically go somewhere where there isn't a Pokemon 10 feet by you, especially not a Paris. I really hate Paris because of this game. I'm sorry. And it's like, okay, you know, I really want to enjoy the ambiance, but sometimes you can't just because of how the game is laid out. But you know, these are minor complaints, like battling is not the point. The aggro Pokemon, you know, once you get a rhythm, you can avoid them and things. But those are just some things that really took me out of the experience, because there's been many times where like I've just been enjoying the game, and then random who gives a Caramon sees me, and it's just like, now I gotta run and dodge for like 5 minutes when I was just trying to chill.
I think the thing I hate the most, I can't tell y'all why they let us even go in the water in this game. Like the 5 seconds of swimming is just so unnecessary to me. It is a pet peeve of mine.
Just don't let you go in the water, right?
Exactly. Like at that point, why do y'all even let me do this? Like just turn the water off or let me swim across. Like I wouldn't complain so much if you could go a little bit further. Like if I could actually swim and there was some indication maybe of the fact that I was about to drown. It literally is like you touch the water, you're going to drown in 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, done. I yesterday when I was playing, I was running on Weird Ear and trying to jump across because I saw someone like jumping across an area to get to another one. I was like, I could do that. I missed it by like this much. I was so close. If I had 2 more seconds, I could have lived, but no. Because I drowned so quickly, I automatically died. And I was like, this is the dumbest shit. Like, why did y'all even let me do this? Brandon, what about you? I think that's my biggest annoyance. I'm sure there's more for me, but what about you, Brandon?
This is an answer you may not expect from me, Jero, because it's not something I normally comment about with games that I personally play. And I guess in a way it's not really, but let me just get to it. Basically, when I'm exploring the world itself, I have no problem with the tree textures or the ground textures or the grass texture. I don't have a problem with any of that. What I do have a problem with, though, is with the performance issues, like when you're actually exploring the world. I am seeing the pop-ins happen a little bit too often, and it kind of takes me out of it a little bit, that I turn and suddenly 3 trees materialize in the distance. I'm like, Or even, oh boy, I saw a cutscene not too long ago where everybody is in Cylene's office, right? And all the characters are, moving at their normal pace, whatever, the lip flaps, the movement, whatever. And then you got the Abra in the background, which is moving like 5 frames a second. So
yeah.
Like that Abra is just like, I couldn't take my eyes off it. The Abra in the background looked just so bad compared to all the characters that were actually in the scene. Like, I can't not notice an Abra. I love Abra. So it's just like there, and I'm like, ugh. So that's
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I didn't mind the pop-ins, actually. Surprisingly, I really didn't mind the pop-ins.
That's so surprising that you and I are normally opposite.
Usually I would care. What I did care about was the Pokemon moving at like shitty frame rates in the background. And only because it really took me out of the experience. Like I'm feeling my Pokemon fantasy. I'm living this character, and then there's a fucking like glitchy bird trying to fly but not being able to, that I can see, and I'm like, what is? Oh no! And that really took me out. So it wasn't really the pop-ins. It was really just the staggering of Pokemon that really bothered me. But sorry, continue.
Yeah, for sure. It's again, it's not something that would normally bug me, but I think it's just because this game is just so ordinarily so beautiful and gorgeous, and like really puts me into this this world of Pokemon, where I'm just a trainer just trying to catch, not really a trainer, but mind you, but just trying to catch all these Pokemon. And then when the world is just kind of materializing around me, it just takes me out of it just a little bit. And again, that's really not something that happens too often. But I think that really just speaks to like the quality of the world that they've created this time. That it's nitpicking, honestly, but that is something I've noticed, the frame rate for some of the Pokemon and the world itself. Just wish that was a little more tightened up. Don't know if a later Pokemon game would be able to fix all that, but as it is, it's a relatively small blemish on a game that I've been enjoying so far. Well.
O'Dell, I have a question for you again about battling. Because I noticed the same thing. Like I'll do agile style and then they'll still go after me, but then sometimes I'll get 2 turns after them. But I'm like, that's not how that's supposed to work. Like I'm supposed to get the 2 turns now. And I've also noticed that like the turn order will show that they get 1 turn and then they go twice. And I'm like, what like what is that? That doesn't make any sense. However, how do you feel about the agile and what's the other one?
Strong style.
Thank you. How do you feel about agile and strong style? Like if it worked, is it something that you would be interested in? And like, okay, so even if it worked perfectly, you still wouldn't.
Yeah, even they would have to fine tune it in such a way. Because I mean, I played RPGs. One of my favorite RPG with turn order battle styles probably Child of Light, and I've seen it in other, and I know it can work well. But in terms of Pokemon, especially when certain moves already have higher or lower priority already, I feel like they would have to fine tune it in such a way that I don't think it would be possible now. For like, take for example, use something like Quick Attack, and you agile style it. What is their speed priority there? How does that work for the next thing? Want the Pokemon also use a priority move, but a regular, say there's so much there from a strictly competitive battle perspective that I feel like, well, clearly it couldn't be this because this is just trash. But if they were able to find some way to legit balance it, fine tune it, and make it make sense, I might be open to it.
Okay,
but I could easily live without it. Like, I mean, but that's mostly because this puts such a bad taste in my mouth because it's literally random. It's just at this point, like I've tried to learn it, and I got to the point it's random. Like I don't know what's going on. Like I'm pretty sure that there's some rhyme or reason to it, but it seems like it changes like each time I battle.
Every battle, yeah. I can appreciate that.
You know what's fun?
What
I was gonna say was I wonder. Because it seems so similar. I wonder if Agile style and Strong style was influenced by the Isle of Armor DLC, because that's literally the first thing I thought about. Like Kung Fu can either go into the water style, which is more about swift movements, and the dark style, which is more about just finishing things in one shot, like which is literally Agile style and Strong style. I wonder how much of it influenced that, and if it was, then if assuming this game gets DLC, I don't know if it will or not. That Kung Fu would be a great Pokemon to throw in there to really represent that. But
I asked you because I know that you mentioned that you do competitive, and I thought it would be really awesome if it worked, if you had that competitive edge. But same thing that you said, like how do priority moves work, and when you pair it with agile style, and speed stats, etc. But I think it would be really cool, and this is just me, but I think it would be really cool to do a competitive battle with that type of nuance to it, where you have the option to do agile and strong styles. However, I don't think that this game really utilizes it that much, because
like you said earlier, it's all about making catching fun, and that's the point. So I understand that battling was never the focus of this game, nor did they want it to be,
which is also kind of disappointing to me. I wish that trainers that I fight had more than one Pokemon. Like I Brandon, I don't know if you've gotten there yet, but there are these 3 sisters that you have to fight, and only one of them has a Pokemon. And I was like, so I'm not gonna fight the other 2. Like that's it, and that was it. Like there's 3 of them, and they come up to you. I don't want to spoil you too much, but they come up to you, and it's like, all right, you gotta fight us to get this thing from us. And I was like, all right, bet. Like my Espeon's gonna kill you all, and only one of them had a Pokemon. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, well, we're done, and we were literally done. And I was like, oh, y'all, this is. But as he mentioned, like I know that that's not the focus of this game, but I like trainer battles. I wish we had a few more, but I appreciate the fact that this is not the focus of the game. I also love running around. I know it's useless, but I do love running around during battles. I like being able to move during battles. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome to get knocked on your butt sometimes when things happen, like if you go too close. I remember I was fighting a Pokemon, and I was standing right in front of it because I was like looking at its size. I was trying to look at its size while my Pokemon did a move, and my own Pokemon knocked me on my butt, and I was like, oh my god, this is actually hilariously awesome. Really funny, but really cool. But last question for both of you. Do you think that on this topic, do you think that agile and strong style is worse or better than what was the last one? I can't think of the name of it. Not megas.
Dynamaxing?
Yes, than Dynamaxing. What do you prefer?
I would say
prefer
Dynamaxing. Yeah,
both of you
I
said
agree.
Dynamaxing? Okay.
Dynamaxing is more balanced. Like Mega Pokemon, I mean, there's a rhyme or reason to every battling. Not everything's gonna be 100% balanced, but Mega Evolutions are really lopsided, especially when you could combine the fact that Sun Moon you have Mega Evolutions and Z moves. You know, it gets to be a lot.
Yeah.
Versus Dynamaxing, Dynamaxing is more of like a nuclear option.
Yeah.
I can do this with any Pokemon at any time, and so can you.
That's why I loved it. Yeah.
And so it's like, it's a great balance to it. That, it's like there's matches where people will Dynamax just to offset you Dynamaxing, and then there's a strategy also like I'm gonna Dynamax on the first turn just because you're not expecting and just go ham and set up, and then the extra moves that Dynamax moves provide and things like that.
Yeah.
So I feel it's even. It's both, like I said, it's giving both of y'all a nuke. And it can literally be a deterrent or a last option or a first resort. And the levels of mind games that it provides, I feel it feels way more balanced.
Yeah.
Because let's say someone Dynamaxes on you and you're like, oh, I'm about to be screwed. You can easily take the Pokemon, throw a Pokemon Dynamax, and literally just have them. You can literally throw a Protects and just eat the turns.
Yeah. Wait for 3 Dynamax
there's
turns.
options. Yeah. So
yeah.
In terms of balance, I feel like Dynamax is, and then, you have special Dynamax forms. And I'm not going to lie, I never get tired of the calling them back, doing a little zoom in camera.
And
then we saw the last gym leader,
Raihan. Yeah.
I called him Rayshawn. But like when he gets his Rotom and he does a little pose. I'm like, oh, bro.
Can't beat it.
They have great animations. I love the Melanie's where she like snuggled the Pokeball before she threw it.
So for all you young kids out there in Galar, people really be pushing P when they Dynamax. Just saying.
Yeah, I definitely agree with O'Dell. Like, I would say the Dynamaxing is preferred between that and the Agile Strong Style. And I only say that because, well, one, he pretty much summed up the reason why Dynamaxing is a really good feature, all that good stuff. But going to the more comparison of Agile Strong Style, it's like he said earlier, it's just not balanced as it is right now. I think there's potential to have it fixed, like if it actually had a rhyme or reason. Like if we got like hard stat numbers, like what it would do to like the actual battles. But let's be real, if they were to incorporate Agile and Strong Style into like a mainline, I mean this is a mainline game, but like a more traditional Pokemon game, let's say that, there'd have to be some balancing to it for sure, because like it would definitely change the flow of battles as we have it, because the whole point of Agile is that it's supposed to make you go more turns. So how would that work in a traditional game? Would it make you go twice, but you have to use the same move? Or if you use Strong, your opponent gets 2 turns? I don't know how that, I got to be honest, I don't know how they translate the full game. I'm glad that's not my job to figure that out. The ball's in Game Freak's court to see if they want to bring that back up for a core traditional game or just leave it in the Legends series. It's up to them. But I think in terms of utility, I do think that Dynamax is a lot better. And I guess Agile Strong Style is based on that concept because like any Pokemon can master their moves and therefore learn it, which is the spirit of what Dynamax was, right? Because every Pokemon can Dynamax. Some can Gigantamax, but it's the same concept. It's just them becoming big and just increasing their powers and giving them special moves. Where I think in general, having a mechanic that every Pokemon can use to become strong is a good thing. Mega Evolutions is really cool and it makes some really cool designs, but only certain Pokemon could do it. Z moves, love them or hate them, every Pokemon could at least do some kind of Z move. So that was definitely going more in the right direction. And I think that Dynamaxing is
I mean, they could, but could they though?
It was a move and it did a lot of damage. It just wasn't. But either way, like I think Dynamax is definitely the better. Like it's the best of what both Mega Evolution Z moves attempted to do. It was a stronger form of said Pokemon, and some could even get unique forms as a little bonus. And every Pokemon could do it. So I think that so far is the best implementation of like, a little bit of mechanic that every Pokemon can do to make things better. Agile Strong Style, as it is, really only works for Legends Arceus. And like O'Dell said, not always the best.
I feel like the odd one out here because I like Agile and Strong Style. I do.
Oh, I don't hate them.
I like it.
I don't hate them.
I think it's great when I'm trying to catch a Pokemon and I don't want to kill it. I'm like, let me Agile Style this shit. I probably will end up killing it anyway by accident, which like has happened more often than it probably should. But But I like being like, power up this move that you have. It's just gonna, and it shows you, like it'll say your power is 60 and you do strong style, it goes up to 80. It might be 60, it goes to 50. Like you'll be able to see the stats. I think it's really cool. I'm gonna stop asking you about it though, because I see that all of you hate it. Like
I do not hate it. I think it could be better. That's all.
So another question for you guys then is because I've seen a lot of people talking about how hard this game is and just how strong the Pokemon are in this game, and how like their one move will take away, how like the damage multipliers have clearly been adjusted for Legends Arceus. So how do you guys feel about that?
I don't feel the game's hard. I mean, this goes back to the point, it's just unbalanced. It's just because the fact that, okay, you can knock out all 6 of my Pokemon, but the Pokemon's still there. I'm still here. Give it a revive, make a revive, and then back to square one, So, I mean, if I was blacking, like if you blacked out, if you lost all your Pokemon, then yeah, it would be hard. But it's just kind of like, I would say the unbalance, there adds a little bit of tediousness to it. But I wouldn't necessarily call the game hard. It's just different. And this is one of the ways I say, it's probably not different in the best way, but there's been times where I'm just like, screw it, my whole team's dead. They're dead until I get to base camp.
So you don't like it?
I'm neutral. Like it doesn't bother me one way or the other.
Okay. I once again, I feel like I'm the odd one out here. I actually like that my Pokemon can actually all be knocked out for once, because this never happens to me. I think the challenge is really cool. Now, I do agree that it can be tedious, because sometimes I'll be like, why are you doing so much damage to me? Like, this is unnecessary. I don't even want to fight you. Like, you literally ran up on me.
It just goes back to the style thing. I've had a Pokemon knock my Pokemon out. All right, whatever. Throw out the Pokemon, and it attacks that Pokemon twice. I'm like,
yes, that has happened to me too. Yes.
And I'm down 2 Pokemon. Like, I literally just showed up. And now I'm just screwed through no fault of my own. I'm just like,
that literally happens.
It's like the game said, yeah, bro, you're just about to lose 3 Pokemon
right now, just because.
And I'm just like, I guess. I mean, whatever.
I think it's just because we're not battling other people that I actually like that randomness of it. I agree with you, it can be annoying, but I've never really had ever really had a Pokemon game where all of my Pokemon have been knocked out just in the wild. I think it is unfair 100%, because I completely agree with you. Like, how are you doing like 2 moves? That's exactly what you described happened to me. Like, one of my Pokemon got knocked out, sent out another one, they go twice, and I like knocks it out, and I'm like, what? That is not how this game is played. However, I like the challenge of it. I don't think it's hard, but I do like that they're hitting harder. I do like that their damage has been multiplied. I feel like, because this game is one where we're not, canonically, we're not, friends with Pokemon, and they're not. I appreciate that they come in for me. Like, you should come for me if you're aggressive. I personally like the challenge. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, the challenge is definitely something I've actually been appreciating about it, because that's something that a lot of Pokemon fans have been complaining about these days, that that the games are too easy, which, let's be real, the real reason a lot of Pokemon games are easy is because we've been playing them forever, and therefore we know the type advantage is. That's not hard. We know that what trainers the Pokemon have. That's the main thing. So we're finally being put in a situation. I think obviously there's some nonsense with the combat, how you can just lose 3 Pokemon once. That's obviously a thing. But also, I think another factor is the fact that this is a very new Pokemon experience. We know the types still. That knowledge is still there, but there's still a lot of newness to it. So we are kind of like thinking about things that we probably normally wouldn't, like Agile Strong. So love it or hate it, but at least it's something new. Especially if you fight an Alpha Pokemon, they know Alpha Strong style, and that can be scary. Like, an Alpha Pokemon hitting me twice, that's terrifying. Strong style, my Pokemon is gone. So, not
even Alpha, regular Pokemon. A regular Pokemon hitting you twice, your Pokemon will maybe be gone. Like, it doesn't even need an Alpha.
Yeah, that happened too. But yeah, no, like I do appreciate that. This is a single player Pokemon game, and I'm glad that they weren't afraid to challenge players a little bit more. Like, it's it's not hard, like you both said, but it's enough that you got to think about where, the typical traditional game. This has definitely happened when I was going through Shining Pearl. I was just like, all right, trainer, we click. You're just going through the adventure. You don't have to think about it too much. Like that game does not like. I didn't realize this because I didn't go through Gen 4 the first time I played it when it originally came out. But I didn't realize that game does not get hard until the Elite Four and the Champion. So I was just kind of like clicking through. Whereas Legends Arceus, I do feel like I have to like actually think about what I'm doing. All right, this Pokemon it's gonna hit me hard. So how am I gonna handle this? Am I gonna peace out? Am I gonna try to weaken it? Am I just gonna try to outright take it out? How am I getting out of this situation? Is basically what I have to think about on the different situations. And I like that I have to think.
Yeah,
I like that I'm playing this game and I actually have to think about what I'm doing next to not be in a bad situation. That's great.
This is the first time I've ever had to run from a random encounter. Like I've never had to run, and I really had to think: do I need to get out of here? Like, am I really gonna die? Like, is that what's happening right now? And it was like not an alpha Pokemon, and that's why I was like, what? It's like
in the past,
y'all are harder than every trainer I've fought. You're all harder than every trainer I've fought.
It's sometimes because it's tedious, sometimes because I honestly don't feel like going through it. But I'll be trying to catch an alpha Pokemon, or even just a regular strong Pokemon. They'll be like, everything's going good. Oh, I've been spotted. You got it, bruh.
I'm out. Like,
have fun with
bruh.
that.
Not even gonna try.
I'm not about to do this with you, bruh.
Yes.
I'm really not. Like again, I'm telling you, Paris really be messing with me. I'll be like. But anyway, like I get you every time. It was just like I'm about to line up the perfect shot. With a red eye, and I'm just like, oh,
yo, it runs so fast.
Next week though.
Yes, that and I hate ghost Pokemon now. Because I found out the hard way that they can literally just like once they see you, they can just teleport to you and hit you. I had no idea.
Drifloon can get it with Paris.
I was like, what is this? Like, I had no idea.
Drifloon really be on that stuff though. It'd be like Drifloon.
Yes.
I'm chilling, bro. Yes. And they don't never run solo.
Ever. There's always 3 or more.
Always a bunch of them. And like if you're like you're in a place that's like empty, right, but it's turning to night, and therefore now you're surrounded, and like so where's you? Oh,
it's crazy, but I love it. I love it. I don't think it should come back. Like
when we come back, friendly Pokemon though. Like I remember one time, like I already had the Pokédex entry for Spiel, and I was just on the beach doing something, and he just kept following me, and I was like, you know what, bro? Come on. Come on, let me go ahead and get that. I felt like the anime, like with the Pokemon calls you. You're just like, I was just like, you know what, bro? Come on. Come get in this pasture, bro. Let's go.
Oh my god.
I remember it was just looking at me. I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, so we ain't battling. We just cool. Like, all right, bro. Come on.
Oh my god.
I have a weakness for Spiel. I'm about to catch like 30 of them just because they're gonna be looking at me like that.
Since you brought up the pasture, that is also something I don't like is the organization of Pokemon in this game. Like I don't know how people are able to do it. I'm not. So if you have any tips for organizing your pasture or something, let me know because mine's just a mess. I've literally resorted to naming them and like marking them because you have like I have like 20 of the same Pokemon. Some of them are alpha Pokemon, some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller. And I'm just like I don't know which one's which. Like
I always keep like 4 because I swear it's always gonna be a quest with like show me that Pokemon you released like 20 minutes ago, and I'm just
exactly.
Bastard.
But I really don't like that I don't have a way to really organize my pasture. Like I like
yes, in the main games, I feel
that. Like you can of course go in and search specifically for a certain Pokemon, but it's that's the only way to find them. It's literally it. That's literally it. And I saw something that was really funny that I posted. I don't know if you saw it, O'Dell, but you know how Wurmple can evolve into either Cascoon.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So and the guy who wants you to give him one in the beginning. Have you seen people's posts where they give him one and then it turns into a Cascoon and he's still waiting for a Beautifly, but it's gonna be a Dustox?
Yeah, there's a whole quest with that. It's a whole story about he accepts that it's a Dustox,
Oh, the movie?
Beautifly. Yeah, he accepted
okay.
it. And he loves his dust talks for being who he is.
Oh
like,
my god!
Not being a beautiful. So like there's a whole arc.
That's adorable. That's actually
great.
Adorable. That happened. That kind of happened in the anime too, where like May caught a wormhole, right? Where May caught a wormhole and it became a Silcoon and a Beautifly, and then Jesse's like, I want one, so she caught a wormhole. It evolved to Cascoon, but she didn't realize that, so she thought it was a Silcoon. Eventually became Dustox, and she was disappointed at first, but then just like that, she accepted it and accepted her for who she was. And Dustox ended up having like a nice little cute little exit clause, but that's another story.
Yeah, honestly, now I think about it, that's my favorite part of this game. Honestly, watching people learn to love and live with Pokemon for the first time. That's beautiful because they, this isn't the world where in the modern era, like people and Pokemon go hand in hand, but we're in the past and that hasn't happened yet. So watching people be like, wow, you make my life better and I make yours better, in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And watch people going from terrified to being like, I can't live without you. That's
yeah, that experience is really exactly that's exactly what it is. And I think that's a great way to end. So quick last question for you guys. If you had one thing to say to someone to convince them to try Pokemon Legends Arceus, what would it be? What would you say?
Pokemon is a phenomenon that has touched people around the world, and people have interacted with it in different ways. But I can honestly say that Legends Arceus is a way to interact with the individual Pokemon in a way that's really never been done before. And I would say to anyone that has even like a passing interest in it, that if you really want to just experience, really get an idea of why this became a phenomenon, see what kids back in the 90s saw but realized better today, Legends Arceus is the game that will really help you understand that better than I think it ever could have been. Your imagination isn't used as much. You really see them out there, and it's you can go catch them.
That was really good.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, it's just a new way to balance your Pokemon. Pokemon, the series, the franchise, the IP is something special because I always tell people the thing that makes Pokemon to me better than Harry Potter, better than any fantasy world out there is that there's no level of entry. You don't have to be born a wizard, you don't have to be a superhero, you don't have to be born with an ability. You can literally, it doesn't matter. Pokemon's literally where it doesn't matter who you are, how you're born, your orientation, your ability, your disability. Literally any person can be a trainer within the lexicon lore of Pokemon. Like who you are right now, right this second, can be a trainer and interact with Pokemon. And this game, further goes to show that. And I think that's just the magic of Pokemon, is because it's a world highly connected to our world that doesn't require, a big lap of imagination. You don't have to be a chosen one. You can literally just be you. And this is the first time where it's never been fully realized as much until now. I'm sure it can get better and it will be, but there's just a special quality in this game that has nothing to do with actually playing the game, but just being with the Pokemon that you want after you catch them. That's just something that has to be experienced and really can't be told.
You guys, that was like amazing. Like, I have nothing more to say. That was just really wonderful. Like, yes to everything you both said. It's just it's making me a little emotional, actually. Just the fact that everything that he said was right. Okay, anyway, so thank you. Thank you. Joey had to leave a little bit earlier, but thank you, Brandon, and thank you, O'Dell, obviously, for coming on and talking with us. If you want to follow him, you can follow him at O'Dell Harmon Jr. and definitely check out his podcast, Full Circle Podcast, at FC Podcast 23 on Twitter. Where is it available for everyone?
Oh yeah, so
and you have a Patreon.
Yeah, I do have a Patreon, but so it's available on YouTube on the Game Fanatics YouTube channel, but it's Apple Music, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any place podcasts are fine. Any place podcasts are found, basically. So pick your podcast service of choice and it's on there.
And it will definitely also be linked in the article for this website when it comes out. Thank you so much, O'Dell, for bringing us your Pokemon knowledge. I love it.
No problem. Oh, Brandon, you never told me what you thought about the list after you saw.
Oh yeah, no, I love the top 10. Big respect to the number one. I do love Mew a lot, And it's definitely it's definitely uncommon for people to say they like Mew more than Mewtwo. So I have nothing but respect for that because I kind of feel the same way if I'm being honest. Honestly, no, it was a very good top. It was a very good top 10. Much respect to having Garchomp at number 2 because in recent years, as Gerald can attest, I've recently gained a great love for Garchomp.
He loves Garchomp, yeah. Like literally.
I used to think Garchomp was overrated. I don't feel that way anymore. I love Garchomp. I love Garchomp to death.
Can I also link your list in the show notes as
yeah,
well?
sure.
Want to check it out. So that will also be in the show notes for anybody to check it out. I'm sure he won't mind if you send him a message on Twitter about it and you check it out.
And you talk, I talk back.
There you go. Thank you. We have to have you back on. You have to come back on at some point to talk with the rest of us.
Hey, most definitely. Just let me know.
All right. He agreed to it. Everybody heard it. He agreed to it. So you're gonna come back.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys. And thank you for listening. And good night, everybody.
Peace.
All right.